The studio lights were already hot before the cameras even rolled, but backstage at the podcast set, the tension felt hotter than anything the equipment could create. Crew members moved quietly between cables and coffee cups, pretending not to notice the strained silence building near the main table. Everyone in the room knew that when strong personalities clashed in live entertainment, disaster could happen fast. That morning had already started badly. Joy Behar arrived nearly 40 minutes late, walking into the studio with dark sunglasses, a large tote bag, and the unmistakable expression of someone already irritated before the day had even begun. "Can we make this quick today?" she asked while dropping her bag onto a chair. "I've already had enough meetings for one lifetime." A few nervous laughs came from the crew, but nobody answered directly. The producer, Daniel Reeves, stood near the sound booth reviewing notes on a tablet. Daniel had built a reputation in the industry for staying calm under pressure. He was younger than most executive producers in television, organized to the point of obsession, and known for pushing hosts harder than they expected. Normally, that worked. With Joy, it was different. She glanced at the rundown sheet taped to the table and frowned immediately. "What is this?" Daniel walked over carefully. "Just a revised segment order," he explained. "We tightened the middle section to improve pacing." Joy removed her sunglasses slowly. "You cut my monologue? It was running too long during rehearsal yesterday." The room became very quiet. Joy crossed her arms. "So now we're editing comedy timing too?" Daniel kept his voice calm. "We're trying to keep the episode under an hour." "I've been doing television longer than you've been paying taxes," Joy snapped. "I know how timing works." Several crew members lowered their eyes toward the floor. Daniel inhaled slowly, trying to stay professional. "No one's questioning your experience." "Really? Because it sounds exactly like that." The makeup artist quietly stepped away from the table, sensing trouble before anyone else. For a few tense seconds, nobody spoke. Then Daniel made the mistake that changed everything. "We just need the show to feel modern." The sentence hung in the air like a lit match. Joy stared at him in disbelief. "Modern?" Daniel immediately realized how bad it sounded. "That's not what I meant." "Oh, I know exactly what you meant." Her voice rose loud enough for people in the hallway to stop walking. "You think I'm outdated?" "No, Joy, that's not what I said." "You don't have to say it directly." People in this business always say it indirectly first. One assistant quietly slipped out of the room. The sound engineer pretended to fix cables that didn't need fixing. Daniel tried again. "We're just adjusting the format for online audiences." Joy laughed sharply. "Online audiences? Those same audiences clipping my segments for millions of views every week?" Nobody answered. Because she wasn't wrong. The podcast had exploded in popularity largely because of Joy's unpredictable humor and blunt commentary. Her clips constantly went viral online, often outperforming younger hosts by huge margins. But the success had also created tension behind the scenes. Joy believed the show worked because she ignored filters. Daniel believed it worked despite that. And now both of them were standing face to face with months of frustration boiling over. Joy tossed the rundown papers onto the table. "You know what your problem is?" Daniel stayed silent. "You think analytics make you smarter than instinct." "That's unfair." "No," she interrupted, pointing toward him. "What's unfair is bringing me on to a show for personality and then trying to manage every sentence I say." Crew members exchanged nervous looks. One production assistant whispered, "This is bad." Daniel finally lost some of his patience. "We're trying to protect the show." "From what?" "From becoming chaos." The second the words left his mouth, everyone knew he had gone too far. Joy's expression changed instantly. Cold, sharp, controlled. "Chaos?" she repeated quietly. Daniel rubbed his forehead. "That came out wrong." "No," Joy replied. "That came out honest." She stepped closer to the table. "For 30 years, executives told women like me to smile more. Soften opinions, stop interrupting, be less emotional. And every single time ratings dropped, they suddenly needed us again. Nobody moved. Even the camera operator stopped adjusting equipment." Joy looked directly at Daniel. "You know what audiences actually hate? Fake conversations." Daniel tried to respond, but she kept going. "They can smell rehearsed nonsense in 5 seconds. Her voice became calmer, which somehow made the room even more uncomfortable. "You invited me here because people trust authenticity. Then you panic the second authenticity becomes inconvenient. Daniel's jaw tightened. This isn't personal. Joy laughed again. That's the favorite sentence of every producer making personal decisions. One of the hosts sitting nearby quietly muttered, "Someone should cut for 10 minutes." Nobody listened. Daniel finally placed his tablet down on the table. Fine, you want honesty? Sometimes it's exhausting. Trying to build a structured show around someone who refuses structure. The room froze. Joy stared at him for several seconds without blinking. Then she slowly sat down in her chair. Oddly, that scared the crew more than yelling. When she spoke again, her voice was almost calm. "You think I'm the difficult one?" Daniel didn't answer. Joy leaned forward slightly. "I watched 3 producers come through this studio in 2 years. Do you know why they failed?" Silence. Because they tried producing moments instead of understanding people. Daniel folded his arms defensively. "And you think humiliating staff helps?" Joy looked genuinely offended. "I never humiliated staff. You humiliate everyone who disagrees with you." A sharp gasp came from somewhere near the cameras. For a moment, it looked like Joy might explode. Instead, she smiled. That smile made the atmosphere worse. "You're new enough to television that you still believe control creates good content," she said softly. "It doesn't. Conflict does. Emotion does. Real reactions do." Daniel shook his head. "There's a difference between real and destructive." Joy stood again, grabbed her bag, and looked around the silent studio. "You know what's destructive?" she asked. "Building media around fear." She turned toward the exit, then stopped one last time. "And for the record, if the show keeps going viral after today, you're welcome." The door slammed behind her. Nobody in the studio spoke for nearly 15 seconds. Finally, one camera operator whispered the question everyone was thinking. Are we still filming today?" Daniel stared at the closed door, exhausted. Then, somewhere in the hallway outside, Joy's unmistakable voice echoed back through the corridor. "And somebody fix the coffee in this place!"